Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. So we're going to continue on with the Halloween franchise, Revisited. And the movie we're going to take a look at today is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. They had to make sure to let you know that Michael Myers was in this movie after the disappointment many people had with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Not me, but at the time for other people it wasn't well received. So they made sure to put Michael Myers' name in the title of this movie. So yeah, I have the Anchor Bay DVD here, special Digimax edition. So let's talk about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I like this movie. I think it's a little bit more of a generic sort of Michael Myers Halloween movie than the first two, certainly, that had a little bit more story to them, a little bit more groundedness. This is kind of the movie, kind of like Friday the 13th Part 6 when Jason became Zombie Jason. This is kind of the movie where Michael Myers is just an unstoppable supernatural force. And there's nothing resembling a human being or a man anymore, like there was in the first couple movies, to a certain extent anyway. But generally speaking, I like Halloween 4. So let's talk about the things that I like about Halloween 4. And you got to start right from the opening credits. They went away from having the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern in the corner as the opening credits rolled. And in this movie, you get a lot of really cool fall, autumn sort of imagery, outdoor Halloween and fall imagery that really works well, and it really puts you in the mood for this movie as the opening credits are being displayed. That's one thing I've always liked about this movie are the opening credits and just showing sort of the outdoor Midwestern autumn sort of imagery, the harvest and Halloween fall vibes that you get by watching the opening credits. So that gets you right away with this movie. At least it does for me. And then, of course, you got Donald Pleasance back. You don't have Jamie Lee Curtis anymore, but you replace her with Danielle Harris, a child actress that I think is one of the best children actors that have ever been put on screen, frankly. I think Danielle Harris in this movie, what was she, 10 or 11 when this movie was made? She was brilliant in this movie. She really was. And the movie wouldn't have been as good without having that kind of performance by a child actor or actress. So yeah, Donald Pleasance, Danielle Harris, and Ellie Cornell as well as Rachel, the sister of Danielle Harris's character of Jamie. They're all very strong in the movie, and I think overall I would say the acting and the characters are pretty strong in the movie. Even Sheriff Meeker I find to be pretty well written and pretty interesting. Let's see, where else do I want to go? Once again, the score is great, even though it's the same score as the first movie, basically. The kills are good in this movie. It's definitely more brutal. Like I said, the first two movies, they were more like grounded kills. It didn't necessarily show that supernatural element that this movie does, and subsequent movies will show as well with Michael Myers. But he literally takes a shotgun and puts a character, like, shoves it through him and basically, like, puts him up against the wall, like the ceiling almost. So, and he's putting, like, his thumb through people's faces and stuff. And the supernatural elements are really there in this movie compared to the first couple with Michael Myers. Of course, when you talk about this movie, you got to talk about the ending. One of the great twist endings, certainly in the Halloween franchise, and really of any horror movie, quite frankly. If I was to do a top 10 or top 20 greatest horror movie twists or ending twists, Halloween 4 would have to be on there at some. I'm not exactly sure where it would be, but it would be in a top 20 list for sure. Maybe even top 10, because the first time I watched this movie, I remember just being blown away by the very end of this movie. After it looks like they've won and Michael Myers was, as Loomis would say, is back in hell where he belongs. You get an ending that doesn't quite wrap up that way, and the acting by Loomis with that ending is phenomenal. with Danielle Harris's character of Jamie's phenomenal. It's just a very like holy shit kind of ending, frankly, and it's one of the things that makes this movie stand out from the rest of the franchise for sure. As far as things that I also think there's good Halloween atmosphere in this movie, as I mentioned with the opening credits and what they show. But I think overall you get a lot of trick-or-treaters out. When Jamie goes trick-or-treating, a lot of costumes, a lot of trick-or-treaters. There's just a lot of Halloween sort of atmosphere and vibes going on in this movie. With Michael Myers, of course, being in the background of coming back to Haddonfield and killing people. So yeah, lots to like about Halloween 4. As far as things that I don't like about Halloween 4, unfortunately, it's Michael Myers. I don't really care for the look of him at all in this movie. And other people have talked about this, but it's one of the worst masks in the franchise. I really don't understand why this franchise had such a hard time and why they kept changing the masks. Why don't you just stick with the original Shatner mask from the first movie? I don't know why they kept changing it and the inconsistencies with how Myers looks throughout this franchise as a result. I really never understood that, but this is one of the worst. His mask in this movie is terrible. Is he trying out for a football team or something? Is Myers going out for the Haddonfield High School football team? Why does he have shoulder pads like in this movie? I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like the look at all of Myers in this movie. I also don't think, as much as I like George P. Wilbur's portrayal in a movie that came after this, that we'll talk about in a couple of videos, I don't really think he was as great in this movie. It's definitely a step down from the portrayal of Nick Castle and Dick Warlock from the first two movies that Myers was in. So yeah, everything kind of with Michael Myers is supernatural and as strong as he is and unstoppable as he is. I don't like the look of him as far as his body or his mask. Like I said, this is more of like a generic Michael Myers movie where he's back. He happened to survive the fire and explosion, as did Loomis from the end of the second movie. No, and don't ask any questions about it. Like I said, it just kind of feels like we're away from the groundedness of the first two movies, and now it's just it got to be like Friday. This is where it starts to be like Friday the 13th, where it's just killer on the loose, can't be stopped, can't be caught, kind of thing. And so I do think there's some missing from the story. The story elements that were so good in the first couple movies, especially the first movie, is really lacking here. It's just Michael Myers is on the loose and he can't be stopped, basically, kind of movie. And so it doesn't. It's hard to describe, but it doesn't have the same hold on me that the first two movies have. If that makes sense to you, to me, it doesn't anyway. Well, it makes sense to me. Hopefully, it makes sense to you. I'm trying to think what else. You know, like I said, the music's still good. The kills and the gore is good. It definitely ratchets up even more in this movie. But I just kind of have a hard time getting behind the Myers survived the fire, as did Loomis. I guess you just have to go with it, but it definitely loses something as a result of that. But I'm rambling a little bit. Overall, this is a solid Halloween movie in the franchise. Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Some people will argue it's the last great Halloween movie for a while. Not to give anything away here, but you know, we'll go movie by movie. But Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers, good solid Halloween movie. So I'm going to stop there. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Halloween 4. I do know this is a fan favorite in the franchise for most people. It's definitely not as good as the first two or the third one for me. But it's not bad either, so I enjoy it. But comment down below your thoughts about Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers from 1988. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews. And make sure you hit the subscribe channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out in the future in the content of my channel. But with that being said, I hope we're 10 days. We're a third into the month of October, which is hard to believe in and of itself. Hope everybody's having a good one so far. And as always, stay scared. Bye.